Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to San Diego County's Domestic Violence Council general meeting. Today, we are going to have a wonderful presentation by Ms. Allyson Huerta. We do have a couple announcements about what is coming the next several months. If for those that do not know, but I'm sure you all do, February is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. We had a great event up in San Marcos, and I'm sure Allyson, and for those that have attended, I heard great things. So brief information about our upcoming trainings. Next month, we are going to, March 18th to be exact, we are planning a presentation supporting the immigrant victims and victim rights. Especially what is going on in our current political climate. We are confirming our speaker. We do have someone on deck, but I don't yet want to announce it until it's absolutely confirmed, but that is the plan for next month. So please join us for that, as I'm confident it's going to be extremely useful, vital information for all the work that we do. The following month, April 15th, we are going to be hosting a training on risks and resources for victims of strangulation by our local, hi Arielle, by our local trainer, Michelle Shores from Palomar Health. If you have not attended one of her trainings, she is incredible with the rich information, important information as it comes to safety and risk. Advanced registration is required for that training. We will send out a flyer for the April training when it is ready. So I just wanted to throw that out there right now to mark your calendars. And in May, I will be doing a training about offender typologies. So domestic violence offenders, typologies, risks, especially I'm not sure if anybody has watched the Netflix docu-series on Gabby Petito. It just came out yesterday. So I watched it already, of course, and I think it's a obviously tragic story, but stories like this that get shared and are trending is an effort to prevent and for education. So if you haven't checked out that, I would encourage you to watch it. I know we all are on this work, but it's still always poignant to continue to have this discussion. So, okay. I do have another side announcement as well as Elia with IVAT. Before we move on into our training today, I'm providing a 40-hour domestic violence offender certification training in April. I will send out, we will give you access to all of the trainings that we're going to be shared, that I'm going over right now. I just wanted to kind of plant the seeds that we do have a lot of great information to share with the county. I'm also providing another 4-hour training March 30th with Deputy District Attorney Ramona McCarthy, who was the lead stalking prosecutor with the San Diego District Attorney's Office. She is a powerhouse with all of her experience and knowledge, and she was the lead in the very high-profile case that happened locally here with the Catholic Cathedral High School case. So I'm very excited to announce that we're going to be doing a 4-hour training on stalking. So I'm going to be talking about the experience, the stalking victim experience, as well as the experience of and psychodynamics that occurs with stalking perpetrators. And she's going to be talking about the legal. Yeah, I'm a huge advocate for domestic violence, but I'm a huge advocate for train. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. So, and I kind of encourage the therapists at the clinic, at my clinic, that knowledge actually is from my experience, has helped with self-care, doing this type of work. So, okay, without further ado, I want to pass the baton now to Ms. Allyson and Arielle, and thank you two for the you guys are rock stars when it comes to teen dating violence. So thank you you two sincerely for the work that you contribute. So to having healthy relationships with our kiddos. So thank you.
Thank you so much. We are excited to be here today and share the work that our committee has been up to over the past
Allyson,
year.
do you mind speaking up? It's a little bit harder with your mask.
Yeah, no problem. I'll just take it off. I'm in my cubicle, so I should be okay. So every year in February, in honor of Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, the San Diego Domestic Violence Council invites our committee to come out and share a little bit about the events that we posted over the past year and the work that we've been doing together. Before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. My name's Allyson Huerta, and I work at Vista Community Clinic as a program supervisor, and I am also the chair of the Teen Dating Violence Committee. Arielle, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
My name is Arielle Kovacs, pronounced she, her, and I'm the Director of Prevention, Education, and Advocacy at Center for Community Solutions.
Thank you so much. So kind of what we're going to be going over today is we're going to start with an introduction to the Teen Dating Violence Committee. Then we'll do a brief overview of what is teen dating violence. After that, we'll play an icebreaker game. And then we will look at our year in review. And we'll talk about what we've been doing this month for Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, as well as upcoming projects that we're looking forward to. So the Teen Dating Violence Committee is part of the San Diego Domestic Violence Council. It's one of the committees that you can join to get more involved. And it's an interdisciplinary team with members from health and human services, nonprofits, education, law enforcement, and community partners, with the aim to increase awareness, prevention, and education around teen dating violence. So we have a broad range of different professionals and community members who participate in our committee. So if you work with teens or you're around teens, if you're a parent and you have teens and you want to learn how to have these conversations about teen dating violence, we really welcome anyone who'd like to join to become part of our committee and help us with our projects.
And before we get started, we did want to offer a definition of teen dating violence. So teen dating violence is a pattern of violent, coercive, or manipulative behaviors to gain power and maintain control over another person in a relationship. This is a similar definition to those of you who work with adults and intimate partner violence. However, the way that this manifests often looks very different for teens. Examples of manipulative and coercive behavior may include power dynamics in a relationship where someone is controlling decisions, name calling or put downs that intent to damage self-esteem or other relationships. And as a reminder, abuse or violence can happen in person or online and includes all of the different forms of violence, including physical, sexual, emotional, verbal, financial, and stalking. As I said, this definition is really similar to that of intimate partner violence or domestic violence. However, the ways that power and control kind of looks different, is really important when we're talking about teens, and ensuring that the definition matches what their experiences are is really important. Otherwise, it may go unrecognized.
Thank you so much for explaining that, Arielle. So now that we're all on the same page about what teen dating violence is and why it's important to prevent it, we're going to start by playing a game of Jeopardy! So we typically open our teen dating violence committee meetings with some sort of game or icebreaker, so we can learn more about the work that we're all doing with teens and give ideas of different activities that we can do to engage teens. As many of you know, their attention spans might be a little shorter, so having a game where you can learn about these topics without sitting them down in front of a presentation can be a really beneficial way for them to learn. So today we're going to be playing Jeopardy! The rules for the game is we're going to choose a category and point value. So I'll show a board on the screen, and then we're going to utilize the chat feature on Zoom. So you can go ahead and share in the chat, like if there's one category you're really interested in finding out what the question is, you can share that there. And then we'll read a scenario. So basically the game, each question is going to be a like, what would you do scenario. So you're going to imagine that you're a teen in a relationship and this scenario has happened. And then we'll have you all share your response in the chat. So you'll share what you would do if you were in that situation. And then I'll have Arielle monitor the chat and she'll kind of read out responses as they come through. And then we'll review the answers and discuss which behaviors align with healthy choices. Let me go ahead and open up the game. Okay, so these are our 6 categories and the point values. So if you have one that you're really curious what the question is, feel free to share it in the chat, and then we will pick our first category. Oh, is everyone able to type in the chat? Okay.
Oh, yeah, they are. Yeah, I see.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, I see a request for boundaries. Is there a specific point value you'd like to see?
Let's do boundaries. Ooh.
Oh, 500. All right, let's go for it. Okay, this is the scenario. After an amazing date with your partner, you realize that you love them. You share your feelings with your partner. Your partner replies, I really care about you. I'm completely invested in you in this relationship, but I don't feel ready to say I love you back right now. How do you respond? So go ahead and share in the chat what you would do in this situation. And then Arielle, if you want to read back responses as they come through, that would be awesome. Arielle, as people are beginning to chat their responses, what would you do in this situation?
I mean, I think that as a teenager, it would really hurt not hearing that back. And depending on like, you know, all of the circumstances, but I also think this is in a moment where somebody could give a really healthy response around like, thank you for communicating your feelings. Like, you know, I think this hopefully is something that will continue to like build a relationship where eventually you do feel the same way. In the chat, we have someone saying, okay, I can respect that. So that ask, wait, respect, beautiful. And then another, I respect your honesty and for being open with your feelings. Beautiful.
Yeah, those are great responses. It can be really hard when someone doesn't reciprocate your feelings in a relationship. And it's easy to feel kind of defensive in a situation like that. But that's not always the best way to like communicate your feelings by reacting defensively. It can be helpful to have an open conversation where you tell your partner that you appreciate their honesty because honesty really is important in a relationship. And then you can decide how you want to move forward if you're willing to wait for the person to feel the same or if you don't want to wait. And then that decision is yours, but it's just important to communicate that respectfully. All right. So we'll do 2 more scenarios. So what other categories would you guys like to hear from? Ooh, on a date for 300. Good choice. Okay. You're out on a date and your partner is spending most of it on their phone. Even though you're hanging out together, you don't feel like they're present with you. How do you express how you're feeling? Arielle, how would you respond in this situation?
I think probably starting with like sharing the way that it's making me feel and then maybe asking a question about like, what they're doing on their phone or if there's something they need to do and then they can put it away, or like seeing if there's like a negotiation that can happen. But I know teens are really connected over their phone. So this is definitely a challenging area for many teens to negotiate.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious to hear what people think in the chat. Oh, it looks like we have a response. We have a few.
Yes. Yeah, so someone shared like saying that they're feeling ignored, like asking like, should I get on my phone too? Like, what are we doing here? Maybe talking to them about how you don't like it and where you're going from there. So like sharing your feelings. Um, texting them, please look up at the person that you're with. Also ask if there's something urgent going on. So recognizing that maybe there's something going on that needs to be addressed. Um, there's an example. I noticed you've been on your phone when we're spending time together. It makes me feel like you aren't present with me. And I wonder if that's something that you noticed. Confirming that there's no emergency happening and then asking them if they want to do something together or spend time together. I think all of those are really great responses.
Those are great responses. It's like we have a bunch of relationship experts here.
Yeah.
All right. And then we will do one more as we wrap it up. So which category would we like to look at next?
Let's do a technology one.
Okay.
Family friends. Let's do family and friends 400.
Okay. Family and friends 400. You're hanging out with your partner and their friends. You leave to grab some food. When you come back, you overhear your partner sharing about a struggle you are both experiencing in your relationship. What expectations do you have about discussing the ups and downs of your relationship with others? This is a good question.
Yeah. I think especially for young people, the conversation around like relationships with other people is so much more intense because teens spend so much time like in a home with a bunch of other people or at school with a bunch of other community members that really everyone knows everything about your relationship. So I think setting some boundaries or talking through some like expectations of like what is shared and how it's shared might be important.
Yeah, that's good. What does everyone think in the chat? I think this question can be a little tricky too, because especially in relationships with teens, we see often that one partner will try to isolate the other from their support system. So it's important to have like a healthy amount of communication about what's going on in the relationship without crossing any boundaries.
And without gossiping, which is a hard line to figure out.
Yeah.
In the chat we have, I feel like it's okay to share with friends, but there's a limit to what you're sharing. Yeah, exactly.
That's
Just
a great answer.
a boundary for sure.
We're all good to move on?
Oh, there's one more. I feel like this should be something that is a boundary set ahead of time, like bring issues to partner first before friends. So again, that piece around like trying to figure out what is like gossiping or like oversharing versus what's like working with your community.
Mhm.
And one last one says, I totally appreciate you going to trusted family for advice, but I would appreciate if you kept that in a private setting because it makes me feel awkward being there and I feel like it should be private. And we got a request to share the Jeopardy game.
Yes, absolutely. Let me actually, I'll copy the link right now and I'll put it in the chat. And then this game is public that I believe anyone should be able to use this link and play the game. We got all the questions on the game from, oh goodness, I can't remember exactly which organization created the tool, but there was like a deck of cards called stating what would you do. And then we took all the questions and we formatted it into the Jeopardy game to make it a little more interactive with the students. So feel free to use this tool to share it with others. The students tend to have a lot of fun with it. Oh, I see we have another request for one. I think we're going to move on for today, but now you have the link to the chat, so feel free to go through and read through all the scenarios. There are some that get like a big reaction out of the students, so there's some funny scenarios in there. But I appreciate you all joining in on our game today, and I hope that you learned something new. All right, so now we're going to move into our 2024 year in review. So this is some of the work that our committee has been doing over the past year.
Yeah, so we're going to start off with the partnerships that we have with educators and schools. And the Teen Dating Violence Committee has representatives from San Diego Unified, SDCOE, the County Office of Education, and San Diego State University as members of our committee. So this is the San Diego County Office of Education teen dating violence prevention page that we will often refer folks to. And we work closely with SDCOE to ensure that this is updated with like best practices and up-to-date information and links. And so there's a lot on here to explore, including different guides, both for parents and for educators, different awareness months and prevention like tools and guides, different posters. So like we have like different like images and visuals for folks that can be downloaded and used in classrooms. So just a lot of information that we try to keep centralized and up to date with SDCOE. And then on the next page here, we have some examples of that. So we have different warning signs for teen dating violence. These are things that come up a lot when we're talking with educators of, you know, just wanting to make sure that they're aware and supportive of their students. We actually turned that into a poster with different warning signs. So like it was a graphic that was easier to like print out and have posted places. We also have tips for starting conversations with students. And so these are things that we both teach in the trainings that we do, but also recommend when folks come and are asking like how to engage with young people around these topics or how to handle potential like sharing or disclosures on these topics. And then we also have links to all of our community resources. So we, you know, try to make sure that we have the organizations that are local, that folks can reach out to if they are needing support or they have youth or family members that need support, since we know that schools are such a big hub for community, particularly for young people across San Diego. So if you click twice more, we have the poster or like the visuals for the teen dating violence kind of graphic. And this has just an easy to read kind of setup that can be printed and put in classrooms or schools. And then those tips for how to start the conversation that can also be handed out to parents. And then on that page, we also have different webinar recordings. So there have been years of work before Allyson or I were on this committee that's been, you know, continuously done in San Diego County. So we have some of those webinars that have been recorded and we do update them every year. As you can see, there's already the one that we did from 2025 accessible for folks. And then, so moving into 2024 in review, this was an event that we hosted last year, but we didn't get to share it in our last share out meeting because it was held after this meeting occurred. So we did a film screening with the movie The Last Drop, which was super well attended. If you click the next slide, This film screening was hosted largely by young people. So we had a youth leadership team that supported with organizing the event. They came up with questions. We did a Q&A with the director of the film, and had a panel of local experts that came and spoke about, like, to answer some of the different questions. Vanessa supported us in that. And it was really a beautiful event. We had about 47 people in participants in at the event, including a lot of teens. So you can kind of see we were in like an auditorium and we watched the film and then we did the Q&A. Some of the questions that were asked included, like, how can family members show up for someone who's in a unhealthy relationship, or how do we support someone without them feeling judged? Those were all audience created questions for the panel, which was really great. And then we also had tabling and resourcing, like, out in the lobby, and played some games and stuff. That was also really fun. Pass it to you, Allison.
Thank you, Arielle. So last April for Sexual Assault Awareness Month, we partnered with CSUSM, so California State University in San Marcos, to host an event called SAM University. So the vision for this event was really to create a space where high school students and college students could come together, and high school students would be able to connect with local colleges and learn more about the resources that are available for students on campus, specifically resources related to sexual assault services on campus. So this webinar was attended by 82 youth and community members from all over the county. So what we encouraged organizations to do was host virtual watch parties. So several different school programs and after school programs got groups of youth together to screen the webinar and participate in a denim quilt making activity. So what we did is we got these little squares of denim from, I think we got them from Etsy, and we delivered packages to all the different organizations that we knew were hosting watch parties so that they were able to put together quilts as they listened to the webinar, because we recognized that sexual assault can be a really difficult topic to talk about and learn about. So we wanted to make sure that people were able to have like a creative outlet as they were viewing the webinar. And we were actually able to bring a few high school students to open up the webinar by doing an introduction to Sexual Assault Awareness Month and talk a little bit about the history of the month. And then we invited CSUSM to share about the resources they have on college campuses for sexual assault. And they also talked about how to support survivors and how to help someone in need. And after the webinar, we went back and we collected all the denim patches from the organizations, and we sent them off to a quilt maker in Florida, and she put together these quilts and sent them back to us. And then we were able to redistribute them to the organizations that participated in the webinar. So this was just a fun way to like have a reminder that even after the webinar was over, they got these quilts back and they were able to remind the students what they had learned, share the messages of hope that they wrote on their denim squares, and then hang them up and display them. That was a really fun project. And then this past October, we held an art gallery called Healing Through Art. And this was in collaboration with San Diego State University's Women's Resource Center. So we partnered with them. We had actually originally reached out to them for our SAM University event. We reached out to lots of local colleges. And they were like, we're all booked for April, but let's plan something for October. So it was really cool to kind of keep that partnership going over the course of several months and to work together to create this larger scale event. So we had over 60 people attend the Healing Through Art Gallery, and it was hosted on, I believe it was a Wednesday afternoon. So the idea behind that was we wanted to make sure that the college campus was busy at the time of the gallery so that we could invite local high schools to send students on field trips and be on campus while there were other students present. And then they were able to participate in a campus tour after the event. So that kind of incentivized schools to work together to create this field trip opportunity for students. And in the gallery, we also featured several local artists. So we had over 20 art pieces submitted by various different local artists. And we had a wide range of submissions from paintings to drawings to sculptures. And we actually had a lot of poetry submitted as well. And we did have a poet come out and do a reading of their poem to open up the event. And it was really, really powerful and inspiring. But this was a great event, and it was cool to see, again, another space where high school students and college students were able to come together with community partners. And we hosted resource tables at this event as well. And it was amazing to see the students go around and just learn more about all the resources. And every time we invite organizations to table at these events, I'm just blown away by how creative they are with their resource tables. Yeah, the students get so excited, and they always have all their little giveaways that they take with them. I remember at this event, someone brought little potted plants, and I had a student who was walking around on the campus tour, like trying to plant seeds in his little pot. So it was cute. And then I had a lot of photos from this event. So I added a few more photos, but you can see here, this was a art piece that was created by local high school students. Here you see like some of the sculptures and paintings, as well as some poetry we had displayed. We had several paintings as well. Here's students visiting resource tables, participating in a chain making activity focused on creating healthy boundaries, and then on the college campus tour as well. And now we're going to share a little bit about what we've been up to this February for 2025 Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month.
Yeah, so the first thing we did the very first week of February was our second, hopefully annual TDVAM educator presentation or training. So this year we actually were able to send out a poll ahead of time and ask teachers or educators what it was that they wanted the presentation on. And since we have the recorded presentation from last year, that was really like a basic overview, we encouraged folks to go back and watch that one. And then this was going to be almost a 2.0 version where we really went deep on the topics that they wanted more information on. So you can see this was the results of the survey here. And then the four kind of areas that we targeted based on the survey was intervening in the classroom was the highest, or intervening in teen dating violence situations was the highest requested topic. And then we talked about finding current resources available for schools in the community, partnering with parents to support students, and prevention tools for the classroom. So we put out the word to educators and had a really good attendance. I think we had about 40 folks show up. And we were able to go through each of these four sections that were most requested. So some of the things that we talked about, if you want to go to the next slide, included protective factors in schools and kind of sharing some of the information around what we've seen really work in schools and classrooms. So giving some real life examples for educators that were really poignant to what it is that they do every day. We did some bystander intervention that was specific to schools and talked about some potential barriers in school settings. So things that might lead someone to not intervene, including not being sure if it requires intervention or not sure how to intervene and maintain rapport with someone who is still in your class, access to time and resources, or thinking someone else will handle it, right? Those are all common things that happen in many locations, but specifically in school settings. And then we also went through our Start the Convo tips for adults. And this was actually, so these are the kind of check in with yourself tips. And then we actually had sentence starters that we shared with educators in a couple of different categories that were developed both in using some of the car convos that Valor put out a couple years ago for parents in ways to start the conversation, but then also last October, we were able to get youth feedback on those start the conversation tips. And so now we also use sentence starters that were created by young people for how they would want to engage in conversation about relationships and similar topics. So we were able to share those with educators and record it. So the recording of that training can be found on the SDCOE website, along with the PDF of the slideshow.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Arielle. So another thing that we've been doing over the past few years is having the county administration building lit up orange for Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. So this past year was the third year where the building was lit up. And this is just a really great way to show that the county cares about this work. They care about the well-being of teens in the community and just raising awareness about this important topic. So this is something that I hope we continue to do years in the future. And look how beautiful the building looks in orange. All right. And then just this past Wednesday, we hosted the second Teens for Healthy Relationships conference. The first one was back in 2023. And then it was an event that was really well attended the first time, really well received by the community. And it was something that we wanted to do again. So here's some pictures from the event. We had over 80 people attend the teen conference, including nearly 60 teens. So the turnout once again was incredible. We had several student presenters. So we had 10 students from the Reliable Connection Club at Rancho Buena Vista High School who spoke out to raise awareness about teen dating violence. And I think that's something we really want to continue doing going forward, is having youth voices really leading the conversations at these events, because it makes it much easier for the other students to kind of connect and relate to the information that's being presented. And One Safe Place has been kind enough to host this conference the past 2 times that it happened, and they just have such a great space for hosting and accommodating everyone who is able to make it out for the event. And the whole committee pitched in to work together and create presentations and games and activities for the students. We had people help bring food so that they would be fed since it was right around dinner time. And then we had 8 community partners come and host resource tables for this event as well. And I sent out an email ahead of time to everyone who was tabling, and I was like, these are high school students, so make sure you have something fun at your table to incentivize them to come visit you. And I brought a group of students to the event, and they had so much swag from the different organizations that they couldn't even carry the stuff. They all kept coming up to me and saying, Miss Allyson, do you have a bag so I can carry all my stuff home? So it was really fun. The students had a lot of fun, and this is definitely a event that we want to continue to have moving forward. And that leads me right into talking about our upcoming projects. So one thing that we've been talking a lot about as a committee is the benefits and consistency. So one thing that we want to do moving forward is kind of to replicate this event over and over so that we can gain traction and build that consistency within the committee and within the community as well. So our plan as of now is for this October to host another teen conference more central San Diego, or like the more southern region, to reach that area of the county as well. And then next February, we'll host the event again in North County once again. So the goal with this is that schools can plan in advance. If they're planning to bring groups of students, they know that the event is coming every year, and it's something that the students can look forward to as well. So moving forward, that is one of our big goals as a committee. And another ongoing project that we have going on is we have this presentation request form where anyone in the county who wants a presentation on teen dating violence, whether it's for teens or parents or educators, can request a presentation from one of our partners. So by filling out this form, it sends me the response, and then I can connect them with people in the same region of the county as them and get them connected to the community resources that are available. So this has been a highly requested tool. We get presentations, like presentation requests every few weeks. and obviously a little bit more at during months like Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, where everyone's excited to be part of the conversation. So if you know of anyone who's interested in a presentation, or if you yourself are interested in hosting a presentation, feel free to share this form, fill it out, and we will get you in contact with someone who can help you with your request. Arielle, is there anything else you wanted to share?
No, I think you covered it all. Thanks,
All
Allison.
right. Well, thank you all again for your time today. We love sharing the work that we're doing, and we hope that you're inspired by just the ways that we were able to reach the county and get the conversation started with teens at a young age about what do healthy relationships look like. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, or also I have the Teen Dating Violence email account on the screen as well, and I can go ahead and put that in the chat as well. And if you'd like to get involved in our committee, you can also email me with that email. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Allison and Arielle. Does anyone have